Welcome to Another Triathlon Podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is Another Triathlon Podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to Another Triathlon Podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. We are back. I have to say thank you to the guys for taking over last week, but I'm back from training camp and ready to geek out on triathlon. And we have certainly got a bit to talk about. We had Ironman Frankfurt on the weekend, and there was a lot more to the story than I think anyone could have predicted there. And then we're going to get into Challenge Roth this weekend. Some back-to-back epic races in Germany, and this one will prove to be no less exciting, I'm sure. But first, let's jump in, chat with the team. As always, let's start with you, Fede. How are you doing these days?
Hey guys, I was just looking at the team pictures on Instagram and having a lot of FOMO. It looked like it was an epic camp as always, so can't wait to hear what you tell us about Camp Jenna. And I'm just doing a bit of a run vlog now that since last episode I told Josh that my race got canceled. So doing a bit of a run vlog now, and strength, running. I'm skipping rope for the first time in like 15 years. So doing a lot of rope skipping to warm up for my hard run sessions, which has been surprisingly good. I enjoy it.
Yeah, that definitely gets that ground contact time down. Just those skips, getting those muscles activated, that fast twitch fibers. It's definitely good for that.
Definitely. I could actually see the difference. Like the first week when I started skipping rope, and now I can see that my muscles are way more activated when I start doing the hard intervals, and it's amazing. And I would encourage anyone to do it. Like if you have a hard track session or like a tempo run, do your warm up like 10-15 minutes, and then do like a nice 3 to 5 minute of rope skipping, and you'll be good. And it's amazing how you feel and how the leg springiness comes back to the feet, especially when you're tired and when you put these sessions back to back. It's really, really incredible what just skipping rope does. I mean, it's like us triathletes think that just swimming back and running are going to make us fast, but it's all the little details that we can do in between that make us actually faster in the long run.
Definitely a great tip there for getting that run activation. But let's jump in. Josh, what have you been up to?
Same old. Just building towards Oregon, staying healthy, getting outside as much as possible on the bike and the run. Getting some good swimming done as well. I did miss a swim last week just due to timing and what we had planned as a family over the weekend, but was able to still get 16 hours roughly of work in on a kind of a recovery week, but still some pretty hard sessions. We've progressed to a 5 by 5 minute hard on the bike, like not max effort, but above threshold VO2 max, 5 minutes. And I found out the rail trail I ride maxes out at about 5 minutes between the street that I would have to cross and the end of the trail. So before it starts to go downhill. So it's actually a very nice 5 minute little section for me. Anything above that would get a little difficult in terms of steady power, but trying to really work on like my VI in that area because there is a little bit of a roll and it's kind of interesting. Triathlete Mag just put out an article I saw tonight about VI and what it means to the run off the bike and why triathletes need to focus on it. And very timely because I have been focusing on it for a while now and trying to keep it as close to 1 as possible. And then you go on these long 3.5 hour rides with stoplights and turns and hills, and it's like 1.2 or 1.1. And it was like, not the greatest, but then you just take in a factor what else is going on. And it's not a true session that it would be on a long ride, but working on it nonetheless and kind of progressed into some peak weeks here and got some big weeks. This tonight, I have one of my first ever true bricks where I'm going to be on and off the bike and the run through the session and not bike into run. So really working on a lot of that neuromuscular power and memory, and then really going hard. It's some pretty hard runs and some pretty hard bikes with a good amount of recovery in between and alternating whether the recovery is on the bike or on the run as well too. So really neat session. It's going to be a pretty sloppy data file, but the way I'm looking at it is get the work done. That's what this session's all about. I even had a Greg Harper swim last night too, and it was probably my best swim of the freaking year. And I didn't have my Garmin with me. It was sitting at home on the floor on the charger.
You know what that means, Josh? Did it really happen? Doesn't count.
Man, but I started the Whoop, so I got Whoop activity swim. So I think I got credit for like 420 yards on the Whoop or something like that. But man, it was a really hard swim progression ladder from a 400 to a 4x100 to a 300 3x100 down to an all out hard 100 at the very end of that 2200 set, and I did a 11400 at the very end, which was
nice,
really freaking good for me. And so that I know how to use the clock, so that's in my head, and I got the session done. And that's just a reminder to all of us. Like, the data is awesome. It's great for our coaches. It's great for us to have it progression. And there are some sessions where I was like 10 minutes away when I realized I was like, I could turn around, go home, or I could go. And I just went, and it felt really good. I was glad I did it, and I know I did the work, and that's really all that matters. And was able to get some of the data from it, as little as it may be, but still helped. And yeah, feeling good. I'm really excited for Oregon. That last 5x5, again, for me, power has been in like the low 200s coming into this year. And now I'm holding 315, 316, 317, all 5 of those 5-minute sessions, and really staying aero. All of them I'm doing in aero position. I'm not up on the bars. Unless I drive by a kid on a tricycle or something like that, I might have to get up and be careful there on the rail trail. But yeah, the progression on the bike power has, for the first time, really gotten up and stayed up and continued to progress. So now it's just a matter of translating that into a run into the bike and really have some fun in Oregon and starting looking at numbers that I never thought I'd be looking at. And who knows how far a slots down come. And maybe we're punching our ticket to Nice, but sub 5 first, 440, 435, maybe get me in the picture. So we'll see.
There we go. You know what I used to do? Last year I did a ton of those, like run bike, back and forth bricks and stuff. I used to use my bike computer for the bikes and my watch for the runs, just so that there wouldn't be like 8 files going all the way down. Drove me crazy. This is like start, stop. The worst though is if you forget to stop one of them and then you just have this blank part in there, but definitely helps tidy up the data a bit.
Yeah, no, that's probably what I'll do. I'll forego the Garmin stress on the watch, because I have the Wahoo bike computer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that. That was probably what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get my bike back on the trainer. I actually do have my old bike getting set up to be put on the trainer too, which will help things going forward for days like this too. But right now I'll put my TT bike back on the trainer, and yeah, it'll be a fun session. I need transition practice as well, so that'll be part of it.
That'll do it. You'll be super try fast after that.
That's how I said to my wife, I was like, this is kind of like super try practice. Yeah. I'm not going to ever be in one of those. I'll be at them, but I won't be in one. Yeah, I'm excited for it. You've done one. So, I mean, you've had that red line, and man, how about, that's enough about us. How was camp? Because the two of us definitely had some FOMO over here.
Yeah.
Man, I have just been living in this triathlon bubble for like the last week and a half, and it has been amazing. Just good people, lots of hard work and training and fun stuff. I went down to Oceanside first to kind of Mana HQ over there, and ended up doing the San Diego International Triathlon, which was so much fun. It was the paces and speeds and stuff weren't incredible. It's hard to go from the like long distance training switching into, it was a 1K swim, 30K bike, and a 10K run. So kind of almost Olympic, but with more run and a bit more bike, or a bit less bike, less swim. Definitely a different distance. But this course, they close it off and it's just rolling up and down the entire time, twisty side. Like, it was beautiful with no cars on there. It was so fun to ride.
I saw that bike split of yours.
It was good. Had some elevation on there too, but yeah, ended up 5th overall, which was fun to try to mix it up a little bit. And actually met a previous guest on the podcast, LA Caroline. So it was fun to actually get to meet her in person. We've been kind of following each other on Instagram for a decade or so. So that was very, very cool.
That's right. She won the pro race because she was the only pro in the...
Yes. Yeah, she crushed it over there. But yeah, then went down to Boulder with the Mana crew. We had a couple of coaches going up there and doing the Mana training camp. And this is one of my favorite parts of triathlon. I've done it with a few different teams over the years, but these training camps where you can actually just geek out on triathlon, have a group of people that have the same goal in mind to just kind of challenge themselves, learn something new, and just get after it. It's so much fun. Everything else goes away for a little bit. It's almost like summer camp for adults. Just eat, swim, bike, run, and talk about triathlon for a few days. So it was really, really good. And up in Boulder, it's insane. It is Triathlon Pro headquarters. It was like every day we were running into world champions, Olympians, gold medalists. Like we did this one event, the Stroke and Stride is kind of a Boulder kind of classic event, total grassroots. You swim and then run. You know, casually Gwen Jorgensen is out there doing a Stroke and Stride because
I was wondering what that event was. Because I started seeing bib numbers. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I thought they went for a swim.
Yeah, man. But on the Stroke and Stride, my timing chip got pulled off in the swim. So talking about not having data and it doesn't count, I didn't have any race results in there. So according to that swim, I'm still in the water, which probably wouldn't be far off the truth. Yeah, it was great. We had such a good crew out there. We had about 30 people over on the camp. And how we do is we set up like a Mana HQ with the coaches, a bigger house that we can kind of set all the training from. And then we just had a whole bunch of swim, bike, run lessons. And the best part is we have a range of athletes from like one of my athletes is brand new to a triathlon, like just getting into it, just did her first, up to like world championship qualifiers winners and stuff. And everyone's so super supportive. But we also have enough coaches there that we can break everything up into like 3 different pace groups. So everyone kind of finds their pace, finds their people, and you don't feel like you're, hanging off the back or the slow person, or you're not getting what you need, not going fast enough. So we did some epic rides, and man, it is easy to see why there's so many pros up there in Boulder. It is stunning.
Yeah, it looks like and you guys did so many different rides all from the same spot too, or like a drive away and then pop out and go, and really, really cool. Yeah, again, I was very lucky that Strava gave me a decent route for my long ride this weekend, but it was nothing like yours. I'm like, I get a few farm country town areas, but that's about it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And we've got proof of all the epic rides. We've got an incredible photographer and videographer that comes out to these camps too, Guille. And he just gets the best shots out there. Like, talk about memories you'll have forever and getting to see those pictures afterwards. It was pretty cool. And the best part with it being Mana apparel, we all had a custom cycling jersey and running singlets, and we all got to match. So you just see this peloton of like 30 bikes riding down, all in matching kit. And we had a blast with all of it. I want to go back to summer camp.
We got to plan a double summer camp.
There we go. Actually headed over we've got Mana Apparel Elite Camp coming up in August. So it will be double summer camp, although that one, there might be a little bit more
intense
suffering out there, but it should be fun. Yeah, no, you guys definitely have to come up for the next one. I know Fede's been along to a few, and they are, man, it's hard to beat.
I'm definitely getting there. Now that I'm going to be settled into this new role and job, I'll be able to. That was the main reason was the new job and trying to do some of the other travel that I have on my own already booked. So next year we'll have all that ready to go.
Wicked. Well, let's jump into some of this pro racing. I'm sure a few pros that I saw over the last little while are going to be out there racing in a few of these, but we have to recap Frankfurt first. Ironman Frankfurt ended up being a wild ride. And okay, so I didn't watch a lot of the race, but on Sunday morning, I woke up and we had a couple hours till we had to do a run. And I'm in a house with like 8 other people kind of thing. Each person that came up, I'm like, if you heard the Frankfurt result, don't tell me, as I'm trying to like watch it on YouTube at their front kitchen. And someone came out of their room and was like, hey, did you see the bikes? No. But then ended up having internet issues and didn't find out the winner until several hours later after the run session. So I did see that there were a few interesting moments throughout the race. So Fede, why don't you tell us a little bit about Ironman Frankfurt?
My God, there was a lot of drama on this race. There's a lot of controversy happening in and around this race, not race results wise, nothing that can actually harm the sport in a bad way, just like little details that are left to appreciation regarding refereeing and rules and penalties and all of this whole stuff. But we'll talk about the drama in a bit, but I just want to get through the results first, and then we can just dive deep into the into what happened, like in the back scene or whatever. Man, Josh and I were talking on the previous episode that KB has this tendency of like cramping on big races, and I don't know what it is, but every time I cramp up during a race, it's race over for me. I keep cramping nonstop all the way to the finish line until when I collapse and die and cry. But Christian, he had a couple of cramp scares. I think he actually cramped a bit during the run, but then he delivered at a 2:30:59 marathon to win the race in 7:25. I
It
mean,
was crazy.
it's unbelievable. Like the way KB is racing right now, I think we might start seeing a domination from him. Not that he wasn't dominant, but like Taylor Knibb, Daniela Reeve, a Jan Frodeno type of dominance in the next couple of years in long distance triathlon, just because whenever we think people are catching up to KB, he's like 5 steps ahead. Or when people are saying, oh yeah, he's putting a lot of work into his air position or his bike or whatever, then he comes and swims on the front pack or outruns everyone, or like he outran Patrick Lange. I mean, Patrick is probably the best runner in long distance triathlon right now, and he had a not day. It wasn't like a Patrick Lange type of day. He finished 7th, but yeah, like on Patrick Lange's best day, I think they would have been toe to toe. Like
I think it
fighting.
started on the swim, right? Like, I mean, we talked about this last week. How much of an impact was the swim skin swim going to have on the race in general? And I think that lead pack of, what was it, Stepniak, Schoenberg, Canute, and a couple others came out 2 minutes ahead of the main pack of Norwegians and the Danes, and Patrick was there. So I thought Patrick was actually in a pretty decent spot, being only 2 minutes down out of the swim. And he was with Christian and with Gustav and with Casper and Magnus, and kind of figured he would hop on that train and ride up with them. But I think he lost touch with that group and had to work a little extra hard on the bike. And maybe he doesn't have the fitness with Nice as the big picture again. Once you start to miss races, the Pro Series drops off of your radar, and you start to look at, like we talked to Gustav, was his whole season's revolved around Nice from day one. Even though they're doing all of the Pro Series races, he knew based on his fitness that the three of them were not at the same level. And Christian was ahead of he and Casper. Casper's kind of bridged the gap a little bit, and now Gustav is getting closer. And this. So, I mean, there might be some domination, but a 2:30, 2:38 marathon where Gustav negative split that marathon and ran a heck of a race, and really in Texas bonked because he went out too hard. This time, that's a scary thing to me. Like Gustav finished 4th and Casper's 3rd. Like I think Casper could be the one that Christian has to worry about, because that's a young gun that's like just learning how to race in long distance. And man, we haven't even talked about probably one of the most impressive performances of the day, Christian Hogenhag. And I mean, that bike and his CDA,
my God,
what he can do to come off the bike 8.5, 9 minutes ahead of everyone else on a day like that. And I listened to the Norwegians did their podcast the day after. So they did it yesterday, Monday. And Gustav dropped his chain 3 times. 1 or 2 times he was able to do it while rolling and put it back on because he's on a 1-by. So he was able to do that based on practice. Casper Storns lost both bottles up front. So he lost 180, 200 grams of carbs early on the bike. I think Christian's the only one that had a clean bike in terms of not losing anything. And then we know what happened to Jonas Schoenberg, who was there right up front on the swim and out front on the bike. And literally his entire front cockpit blew up, and tried to get it fixed. The mechanic was there to help him. They tightened it back up, but it wouldn't stay on. And they actually pulled him from the race due to safety. But he was fixing to have a heck of a race as well up front. Obviously, we don't know what would have happened in the marathon, but what Christian Hogenhag did on that swim bike was crazy impressive. And then to get a 1-minute stand down penalty early in the run and lose by 2.5 minutes, it's like, man, that would have been a pretty tight race. And I know Christian started to get a little crampy towards the end of his marathon and trying to maybe go 2:30 in the back of his head, and he went 2:30:59. But if there's a run battle there, who knows what the heck happens and who pushes each other a little bit too much. But we were not able to see that because the German refs love to be refs and drop the hammer with the red cards and the stand downs.
Yeah, I mean,
so let's kind of go through that a little bit with some of those penalties in there. It was pretty crazy to see all around. And people, if they weren't following the whole race, might have missed out on a few of them. But we had Patrick Lange had a 1 minute penalty for a stop and go for failing to remove put his swim skin in the right location there. Yeah, so he had that. And then Christian Hogenhaug had a 60-second stop and go penalty for outside assistance. Now, this is the one that I think we need to talk a little bit about because it's super controversial and just not well written to the point where if you want it to be terrible, you could really use this to your athlete's benefit. But what happened was he was given a penalty for outside assistance by someone running a few steps alongside him and saying something to him, right? And the rule reads that if you have a coach or supporter on the side, if they're assisting you in any way, giving you splits or anything, both feet have to be firmly on the ground. They can't run alongside you or else that counts as a penalty. Now, what's even more interesting here is it wasn't his coach or anyone like on his team running alongside him that got him that penalty.
Yeah.
So with how the rule is written, some random supporter or competitor's coach or another person out there could run alongside you and you could get a penalty for that, which is kind of crazy.
So it started with not his coach. It started with Magnus's team giving Casper giving Christian the splits. But then his coach actually did it as well up the road, and then they pulled him aside. So it's like the ref was already pissed off enough. But you're right. I mean, like you could be like, hey, let's get KB out of this race. Let's go run with him and give him splits. I mean, that's the thing where it's like, come on now. Like they're not affiliated. I mean, how do we manage that, though, is the question. Like, how do you have the referees have to know whose coach is who?
It was complete chaos.
I think that's a lot of these where there's the rule and the reason for the rule and the intent behind it, and just applying the rule for anything, no matter what. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's Germany and they follow rules to the T. So apparently everything started with the Magnus's deadlift coach that, like Josh mentioned, like he was giving splits, and then it was Christian's coach who then did the kind of the same thing that all coaches do. But man, yeah, like you said, Jenna, if somebody wants to play dirty in the World Championships, they just wait for a referee to swing by, and then you just run alongside the athlete you want to get disqualified and start yelling random numbers, like, and they get a penalty or they get disqualified or whatever. But I see how they played the rules, and yes, it was a penalty, but I think there needs to be a room for interpretation, a room for like appreciation and knowing if the assistance is making them like gaining an advantage or not, because everybody shares splits, but it's not the type of like they're not handing out an energy gel, or they're not giving them, I don't know, whatever, like rollerblades to last.
Although there was like an Ironman cameraman that gave KB a gel or something that it seemed like. So that it's like, what is going on here right now? I've never seen so many TOs either. Like there were technical officials behind everyone in that lead pack too. So it was, and I think even one of them, like one of the pros from a couple of years ago, pointed out that was the same official that gave me a stand down penalty for having a coach assist me as well. Complete craziness on the assistance from a coach. I get the 2 feet on the ground, but come on. It's really about like, did he give you a fresh bottle of 160 grams of carbs? Yes. Okay. That's assistance. Because I think in that personal needs station, the Norwegians were saying, you literally had to leave the course, go into personal needs off the run course, grab your bottle, and then come back out and start back out on the run course again. So it wasn't like right there on the side where you could find your bag.
No, definitely. And then that kind of leads us into the big penalty that was reversed in the end. But we had Magnus Ditlev was originally given a penalty for littering. He refused to serve it on the course and had some strong words for the ref, which came across the broadcast.
I loved it.
Yeah. And then he was handed a red card, which is a disqualification. which would end up being overturned in the end. But it looks like another case of the intent versus what they're actually doing or what the rule is supposed to make happen, right? So it looks like he was going through an aid station. They had ice at the end of the aid station. He poured the ice, tossed the cup. The cup kind of bounced a little bit outside of the aid station kind of thing. So making all attempts to throw it within there. It's not, he got the penalty for intentional littering. Now, it's not like he's running around the run course in some section between the two aid stations and just chucks a gel wrapper on the ground. It was like, it happens to go a little bit past. Like, there has to be some kind of give there, especially at those speeds, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Kind of like the
especially
Kyle Smith rule in San Francisco, where he went back and grabbed it himself. Magnus did not go back. It's one of those things. I think somebody just needs to come out and say, hey, look, if you're like near the sign and you're trying to dispose of it around that time, then okay,
Intent is
we're not
there.
right.
Yeah.
We're trying to get rid of it. It's not like he's gone 50 meters down the road to then toss it. I mean, it's literally within feet of the sign that we still can't see what is on the other side of it. But we assume it's the no litter zone past this point. But it to me, it's a tough one. It's you just have to. I try to get rid of it before I get even close. That's first. No, but these guys are. I mean, with all the ice and the cooling technology now and everything these got going, I'm like, I saw KB's like core temperature never went into zone 3 core, and it was like zone 1, zone 2, just because of his heat prep and the way he handled the cooling during the run and stuff. I mean, that's insane in that temperature to keep your body temperature down that way. And that's the type of level these guys have to go to run 330 per K off of the bike. I mean, and that's what KB was running to get in front, and then probably pulled it back closer to 345.4 at the end.
Yeah, and even that, like, what does that do to you mentally? Like, you're wondering if you're disqualified for the rest of this. How hard are you going to push a marathon at the end of the Ironman? If you think at the end, this could get me 0 points, 0 money, nothing. Like, as much as we talk about that mental toughness and you have to just kind of do your race and stuff, that is a hard hit to think you do all that and potentially there's nothing at the end. What do you guys think?
I was just gonna say, like, going back to Magnus's penalty, like, according to his coach, like, Magnus was like disqualified for littering outside the drop zone, and apparently whatever he dropped, it landed 2 meters from the drop zone. So it wasn't like Josh mentioned, like 1,000 feet away. So, and then like you mentioned, Jenna, these guys are running like at a super high speed, and when you're racing at the top of the spear in triathlon, all of your energy goes into maximizing performance, and probably all of your glycogen it's in your muscles pumping blood, and obviously you don't have the finesse of a basketball player to actually make a 3-pointer
We're not the most
into the
coordinated
trash
to start
can.
with.
Exactly, there we go. Like, imagine you're racing for the podium for money. It's not like you're outside jogging or yes, they're having fun racing, but it's not like they are super aware of their surroundings, just because we've all been there, obviously to a certain extent, hurting and pushing super hard, where you're a little blurry in vision and everything, all you can focus on is getting to the next aid station and chugging a gel or drinking water. Of course, he didn't do it on purpose. And obviously that disqualification, like you could see the frustration in Magnus's face when they told him. And I think I speak for the three of us here, we would have reacted the exact same way. Because, I mean, what are you talking about? Like, it's not, yeah. And then they told his coach, oh, he might not get DQ'd. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Of course, mentally that breaks you.
For sure.
And you just need that one reason to stop pushing super hard because it's uncomfortable. And when you're thinking, oh, I might get DQ'd, this race might not mean anything. Do I step off the gas? Do I push forward? Do I spend a bullet here? So, yeah, I could see the
his
domino
coach better
effect.
not run with him to give him that information.
Hey, we need radios now, like Tour de France. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was just chaos. And I think I agree. And I appreciate when rules are getting enforced. And now that we're going to talk about Challenge Roth, but what they're testing age groupers now, which I think it's amazing and it's a long time coming. But I'm a big fan of following the rules, but there needs to be a certain playroom when it comes to pro athletes racing, because it's their livelihood. They race for money, they race for world championship slots. And if you toss something and it drops 2 meters away from the leadering zone, let the guy be. I mean, it's not like he did it on purpose. I mean, maybe give him a red card if he grabs a water bottle and tosses it to the guy in front of him so that he falls off his bike. But other than that, I think they're good to go.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because like refs have become the whole story of this race too. And even, although I will say I do agree with the Jonas Schomburg call to kind of pull him off the course without safe equipment, because that becomes kind of an issue for all the athletes around you with his aero bars kind of completely coming up. How crazy is that stack with like, for how big of a guy he is, he's got this crazy like stack on there that looks a little scary, but unfortunately you just need one bolt not quite tightened enough and the whole thing goes down. It was, crazy to see. And that wouldn't have been safe to ride around other athletes, especially as they start to interact with age groupers.
Yeah, because it was the 2-loop bike course as well. So that was definitely an interesting, and then all the cobblestones. But I mean, even they were, I think the Norwegians I heard say like, was it the cobblestones that were giving a lot of people trouble? And it was like, it's not just the cobblestones. There was a lot of rough road throughout the entire bike course too. That was kind of rattling some people's cages, literally. And Gustav was saying some of the chain stuff on his part was, again, he made some changes, a lot of changes to his bike and his setup, and he hadn't put on the chain tight enough. And like he had changed the to the 1x and the 62 teeth, but he hadn't tightened the chain to the point that it should have been, and it got a little loose going up a hill and back down, and dropped it. So some of it is self-inflicted, others is the bumps.
Yeah, and then we also had the bike course in there too, with obviously a crazy fast time in there. But this course kind of known for being about 176 kilometers, so not quite the full 80. So it's tough to call bike course records when there does seem to be a bit of wiggle room either way. What do you guys think?
Still a 9-minute lead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On the day.
Record times, bike course records. It's like,
in terms of the record, it's not 180. That's for sure. And I think there's plenty of data files to show that that's not that is the case, that it wasn't that long. What Hogenhog did was insane. But in terms of the record itself, no. Like you got to get 180 point something.
Yeah, I agree.
Zero
I
at
agree
least.
with Josh.
Well, let's roll into some racing on the other side. So we'll talk about a few other of the event organizers outside of Ironman. First up, I'm going to jump in with my What the F of the week. I love the T100, but what the F with this schedule? If you guys haven't heard, Lake Las Vegas has been canceled, and they're making a small, just little adjustment in location from Lake Las Vegas to Australia. It's
just 45-minute flight.
Exactly. Easy changeover there. It sounds like they just weren't able to overcome some of the organization issues out there to make Lake Las Vegas happen, which is really unfortunate for the age group athletes who kind of planned their seasons. It sucks for the pros who are going for the series, but you got to feel for the age group, especially if you already booked flights and accommodations and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know, like every time I keep hearing these things that with the T100 or not with Ironman, it seems like Ironman knew all along that they were the big dogs, and when the T100 came into the picture, they didn't panic and they kept true to themselves, and they were like, I'm just gonna stick to what I do best, not trying to be too in your face to everyone. And then the PTL, the T100, these events that come and go, they haven't had that trust in age groupers to back them up completely, because they don't know if the race they're signing up for is going to be moved around or canceled or this and that. So I think it's amazing for the pro athletes, but I think that's part of the reason why the age groupers haven't really backed it up, because there's a level of uncertainty when it comes to signing up for races. And I talked to a few of my friends, and a lot of them don't know that there are age group races in the T100 events. They thought they were only pro events, which says a lot with the marketing of the T100. Yes, they're focused a lot more into the pro athletes, and I'm up for it, and I think they deserve that. But a lot of the following comes with age groupers racing on the same day. That's the magic of Kona, for example. Everybody knows it's a pro race and an age group race. And and then going from Vegas to like Australia, that's just a kick to the butt to all of the athletes that had, like you mentioned, Jenna, paid their accommodations and flights and everything. Yeah.
I think the big difference in what they're trying to do, and we applaud them for trying to create more racing opportunities, is also the downfall. They're trying to create races. They're not taking over existing races, which they did do in San Francisco, but they haven't taken it over. It's still not their age group race. So the age group race is going to be held separate of the pro race. The T100 Vegas, the T100 Vancouver, these are all standalone events that they created. They did not exist prior to the T100 pro race coming there. And that and permitting and all of these things that have to take place is a whole big task, and not something that maybe the PTO of the T100 was used to doing outside of a couple races here and there. And now they're trying to do 8, 9, 10 mass participation events a year, and it gets difficult. And things are not always easy, but they got to think twice before they expand more, because it is impacting a lot of people and a lot of companies and a lot of individuals who had booked travel plans and their seasons around these races. I mean, Vegas is, we all know, like when you put a race in the middle of a season, the beginning of a season changes and the end of the season changes, and your year has changed based on when that race may be. So yeah, I feel bad for everyone who was supposed to be going to Vegas. I can't imagine many of them are going to Australia.
Yeah, and I will say I have to give them kudos though on the T100 Vancouver race in there. They really did that one well. They actually paired up with a couple different race organizations. So they had a race organizer that was based out of Vancouver that knew the local kind of community authorities and stuff to get everything set up. But they also partnered with a race organization that has put on all the World Championship events, WTCS events, and brought in another one as well that had experience with very mass participation ones. So in Vancouver, it was cool because they brought in 3 experts in different aspects of it, which made it happen. And it turned out to be an absolutely amazing event. But you could see if you don't have that foundation or don't have those contacts, it could be very challenging to start up a new race entirely. But we will see how it shakes out there. They're definitely still finding their way in the age group races, and we are enjoying watching the pro racing. But let's roll into Josh. Do you have a social media post of the week for us?
The social media post was really on your left again, just crushing it. With all of his post-Frankfurt and referee stuff. So kudos to Connor and everyone. And really, if you haven't checked them out, I know we had Connor on do an episode with us, but they're really starting to crush it in terms of their predictions and setups, previews for each race and the special guests that they're having on. So check out On Your Left and their social media page and give them a good shout in the comments, because he's doing some good stuff for the sport and really getting some more eyes on it. He brought on Belinda Granger to talk about the Roth episode. Like, that's really, really cool for the sport and doing some different stuff. And the memes are just next level.
Absolutely. Definitely check them out. But that brings us to Challenge Roth. There is going to be some epic racing ahead here. Challenge Roth always draws a crowd. And this race, I'm telling you guys, we have to try to go after another triathlon podcast showing at Roth next year, because it is on my bucket list. Solarberg Hill, that crazy finish line, it has some incredible energy over there. But we'll have a few athletes out there competing for the win. We'll start running through kind of the men's side of it. Some of the top competitors we have, like Sam Laidlow, we've got Dennis Chavreau, Peter Heimrich, Jan Stratman, Joe Skipper, Thomas Bishop, Jack Moody, Brian Arnott, Matt Hansen, Jesper Svenningsson, we got Florian Ankert, Andreas Dreitz, Marino Uela. Man, we just have quite a few names on here. They're ranking the men's side as about 22% of a typical Kona field. But the thing here is we have someone like Sam Laidlow, who you would think previous form going into race, he'd absolutely be the winner. But we don't really know where he is. So I think this could turn out to be pretty interesting. What do you guys think?
I mean, first off, I was just going to say that next year we need to make Roth happen for us. We need like an ATP house, Germany,
Yes.
banners, everything, live podcast. And I think I'm not throwing Josh under the bus here, but I think it would be epic for his first full to be at Roth. I think would be incredible.
Float down the swim.
Yeah, float down the swim and then just hammer the bike and enjoy the run. I think we need to make it happen. The three of us racing in Roth, and yeah, just putting it out there. And actually, just adding on Josh's social media post of the week. Did you guys saw our good friend Fred Funk post? Like, just in a couple of days, I'm gonna become a real triathlete just because it's his first long distance triathlon. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
That giving the athlete that he is and all the achievements that he has accomplished, he probably still gets a hard time of, oh, you haven't done an Ironman yet or a full distance triathlon yet.
Absolutely.
Especially for the German.
You're right.
Yeah, we've got a few in there. We got like Frederick Crunk, Vincent Louis, Henry Schumann, Aaron Royal. Like we've got a few short course athletes stepping up to try to do a longer distance here that we really have no idea what they're going to do when it comes to Ironman.
Like you said, we have no idea Sam Laidlow. Like I've watched every one of his episodes. You can definitely tell he's getting fitter. He's doing other races. He hopped in another local triathlon with the family and they did like a relay and he did the bike leg and crushed most of it, but then had a little rough go at the end. But it sounds like his fit. I think Fed and I talked about it. It sounds like his fitness is there on the swim and the run. It's the bike that's taken the longest to come back around. And I guess when you have that bike power, it does take a while for it to come back. And his expectations are obviously higher than anyone else's when it comes to the bike leg too. We've seen him have good races on this course before and some decent battles into the run. I just don't know if qualifying for Nice is still his goal this year. I almost see a DNF coming, and this is more of like a
Really?
test run for him to see, okay, do I go after Nice? And maybe he does. Maybe he does finish because we've seen, I mean, what he did at Kona is probably what got him into this situation and his health and pushing it to the limits and finishing the way he did. But we all know Nice is his baby and he's the defending champ at that course and knows he can win it there. Is this his final test before he goes and jumps in Lake Placid or another upcoming race and pulls out on the run on this one? I don't know.
Yeah, that is tough. You would think you'd do it the other way though, kind of go try to perform at Roth where you get that coverage, get that attention. Really, isn't he an auto qualifier? So he just kind of has to roll around an Ironman course to get his validation.
So yeah, he just has to validate. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd be curious to see. He's hasn't given too much away. It sounds like he's on the form, but we just haven't seen him racing. And this will be interesting because we have like 12 guys that'll be swimming together. Like there's going to be a big pack out of the swim. And then you're also adding on a few more short course guys who will be adding some firepower to that too. So someone like a Joe Skipper, he's going to be 4 or 5 minutes back out of the water from these guys and then have a lot of time to make up on the bike course. But I think we're going to see that big group coming out together and then a little bit of fireworks on the bike, see who hangs on or not. If Sam Laidlow is up to his bike power and speed, then could definitely make it interesting.
Little Tommy Bishop that we've had on is gonna. It sounds like he's in pretty damn good shape too. So I think he'd have a good day. Vincent Louis is gonna be interesting to see. Like, how does he hold up in the full distance too after all these years in short course and 70.3 and what outfit does he wear?
Yeah.
We got to see the special Roth.
I mean, does he really roll up in the full German get up? I don't know.
Oktoberfest type of.
That'd be amazing.
But it would be interesting with Vince, like, because he's had success over the 70.3 distance, but there's been some races where he's like overpaced, Ali Brownlee type style, where he goes too aggressive, either on the start of the run or in the middle of the bike. But I think we're going to see a different Vince. I think he's going to be cautious. I think he's going to feel properly. And maybe I think if he paces this race well, we could see like a huge breakthrough race from Vince. And we could be talking like these super rare cases where you're super good at sprint Olympic, not really good at 70.3, and then amazing at the full distance. And I'm very curious to see what Vince does. But I cannot look past my good friend Fred Funk. I have all my money on him. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And he's a German, and probably he wants to take the torch from Jan and Patrick and say, hey, I'm here to stay for a while now, and you guys can rest if you want. But German triathlon is in a good place right now.
Yeah, like I love Vince, but I just don't see him factoring in this. Like
Oh,
he'll be
really?
able to
Even
get out of the
factoring?
swim. Yeah, I think he'll be in the front of the swim and then he'll get kind of lost on the bike and we won't see him again, kind of thing. He's so good. I really thought he'd be good at this Ironman and 70.3 distance. He had some good races in there, but I don't quite see it. But I do want to see the kit and the helmet that he comes up with for it.
You figure if he was going to be good at the middle and longer distance, it would have showed itself in the T100 first, because it's the closest to what he's used to.
Yeah.
And it hasn't shown itself there. And I'm with Jen. I don't think he's going to factor on the run. I mean, if he's still there I think he'll lose it on the bike over that 180K distance on that course. And with the firepower that there still is, yeah, he'll have a good swim. He'll be up there with Aaron Royal and the likes, and Sam Laidlow probably is going to be right there too. And if Sam's there, somebody's going to try and go with him. Maybe Vincent tries to go with him. I don't know. I think the junkyard dog's going to come in and potentially surprise everyone here. He had a good race early in the season, and he's been kind of quiet, and now he's hopping back in. And I think from all signs, he's had some pretty good training. So that's my outside. If Sam Laidlow is not running away with this, Joe Skipper's taking the top step.
Hey, I like it. It'd be good to see. Everyone loves him. And then the day after, see how he goes with the beer mile.
I mean, a beer mile in Germany? Come on now.
He's got to do it in Germany.
With the Steins.
Yes, full on. Oh, that'd be painful afterwards with the full Steins 4 times. Oh, man. Be crawling.
A beer every 2 miles.
How about you, Fede? Who do you think takes the win here?
Well, I just said it. I think Fred Funk it's gonna take the win. I do believe. I don't know if this is my nostalgia talking, but I do still think Vince has a lot to give in the sport, and I think he's gonna factor more than we think. Also, don't sleep on Aaron Royal because he can ride a bike. And I think he doesn't have that super strong, fast twitch muscles, but I think he can go for a long time at that threshold type of intensity. And I think if he plays his cards right, he could have, like I said, like a breakthrough race. But I think for Vince, Aaron, Henry, these guys, it's going to be either hit or miss. They're going to go for the home run or just strike out on every single occasion. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And I don't know. I think that the junkyard dog has a strong chance to win, like Josh mentioned. But I'm on the fence with Laidlow. I don't know. I like him.
Nobody knows.
I like him, but I cannot put the pieces together to make an educated guess, quote unquote, to see how he's going to race.
We kind of missed is Matt Hansen too. And you talk about a run course and records. This is one of those courses where you could throw down a pretty hefty number on a marathon. And if he's in shape, we've all seen him run from 10th up into the top 5. What
Especially
can he do in a
races.
field that isn't as strong? This isn't the strongest Roth field ever. It typically is not a very strong. It's a very front heavy field, but there's definitely some players, and I think Matt Hansen could factor in if he can have a somewhat decent swim. But I think I even shared it on our social media today. It sounds like it's a 100% swim skin race for the pros in Roth, and even the age groupers, it looks like it's going to be as well. So that does not help Matt Hansen at all for the overall, but doesn't matter. Doesn't mean he can't run a 2:28.
Right.
Very true. Would love to see see that run split, but I think with the bike, that's where he's really going to struggle there because there's going to be some solid bike power in this course on those German roads, and they get going pretty good on this one. But it'll be a fun experience going up that Solarberg Hill and see how far he can make it up through the field with, you got to think he's going to have the fastest run split if he plays his cards right.
Who do you got, Jono?
Yeah, who do you got?
You know what? I'm going to go Bart Arnott's. He's going to be out of he'll be a little bit out of the water, but I see him riding well on this course. I think he could have one of the faster bike splits out there and make some difference. And then he'll always have like a solid run kind of deal. Nothing too crazy, not the fastest run split, but something that'll be right up there with the rest of the field. So going outside shot on that, he's going to have a fast bike, make up that time for the swim, and then just run it home and hold off Matt Hansen charging behind, or we'll see. This is all unless Sam Laidlow kind of goes off the run. He's all just been like dogging it the whole time, and he's actually as fit as he's ever been, and go ride 8 minutes faster than everyone else in the field.
Yeah, and he knows the course, right? And shout out to Martin Uloa, Mana athlete racing. Nick Chase is racing again. There's some good names in this one, even up front. I mean, Henry Skuman. I mean, could be a factor. Jesper could be a factor, Svensson. So it'll be interesting. I think it all everyone, the X factor, Sam Laidlow, and then what does everyone else do on the day? How good are they?
Yeah. Do people follow Laidlow if he puts on like a super strong surge on the bike, or do people call him on the bluff? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
I wouldn't go with him if I thought I had a chance of winning the race overall or as the podium. I wouldn't blow up my race to go with him.
I don't think it's so much a matter of would they or could they.
Freddie could.
Freddie, Jasper could.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. There's a couple guys, but I don't know.
There's not many people that can go with him on their best day.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, let's jump into the women's field here. We have a little bit lower percentage with 15% of a typical Kona field. I think we had a lot of competitors over in Hamburg and stuff as everyone's chasing that Ironman Pro Series. But this weekend, we got Laura Phillips, Nikki Bartlett, Marlene DeBauer, Justine Mathieu, Laura Siddall, Nina Duran, Angela Nath. I haven't seen her racing in a while. It'd be great to see her out there. And then Grace Thack will be racing too. And she's someone that we don't quite know how she's going to do over that Ironman series. So what do you guys think? Can we go past Laura Phillips?
There's one and then the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's sad that Annie Hogg didn't make it back. Yeah, this is Laura's race to, can Laura, it literally is actually, can Laura go sub 8? I think that's the question.
Yep.
Yeah.
And based on what she did in Hamburg, is she recovered enough after a very hard race between her and Kat? It's not like she had an easy race in Hamburg. She let it go in Hamburg. So is she recovered enough to go sub 8?
Could we text Mark and see if Kat is willing to race Roth just to have that extra spice, and maybe both of them can go sub 8?
Mark's got a stressful week. He's racing, and then he's got to get back to Swansea the following week to go Sherpa and maybe not get a penalty for Kat.
Oh man, if that would be. Imagine if both of them were racing. Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. I think it's a matter of if Laura can go sub 8 or not,
because she's got time between now and Kona.
Yeah,
I mean, she can let it go again this weekend.
I just had a lot to back up though. Like that time is pretty tough. Like you mentioned, Josh, I think that's the biggest thing. It wasn't an easy win. It wasn't like she was off the front with 5+ minutes to spare. She was chasing into the last bit and then brought it home to take that win. And that is a big effort to come back from. But she's so class and so far ahead of the rest of the field. I think she's still got it, even as she, jogs it back. And she'll have the support of the home German crowd. How can you not bring that in?
Okay, if Laura goes sub 8, do you think she could back it up in Kona and go sub 8 in Roth, world champion in Kona, last year only women are racing in Kona, and then say, I'm probably the best long distance triathlete at the moment?
Yeah. See, it's tough.
Or she goes sub 8 and then she's burned out for Kona.
So that used to be the traditional thought process, was if you did well in Roth or Frankfurt, you weren't going to have a good Kona, because it would take, with the fields they had, it would take too much to win that and recover and then be back fresh enough. So to do a Hamburg Roth Kona triple would be something absolutely epic and incredible. And if she didn't have someone like a Kat Matthews right behind her, I'd say it's a possibility. But I think that's a lot of really hard efforts if she has to push for this one to take
She's
it
got
again.
4 months until Kona, right?
And people are recovering a lot faster than they did
That's
back
the
then.
thing,
It's
the
'cause you can push
technology
in the
and
shoots, all of that stuff. So I wouldn't put it past her. And like I said, like this field, like we're looking at predictions of people being 20 plus minutes behind her if she has an average Laura Philipp day. So if she can take this with like cruising it on the run, I definitely wouldn't put it
I
past
think
her.
this is Kat's year in Kona.
Yeah.
I think Kat in the run, I don't know. And not just the run, I think Kat and the TT bike capabilities that she has in Kona suit her better than Laura. I think Laura could stick with her on the climbs, and Kat descended well in Nice. But no matter what, I think Laura will be able to compete in Kona, no matter how well she does this weekend in Roth, whether she goes sub 8 or not. I think the hardest part about going sub 8 in this field is she doesn't have Kat pushing her, like Fed said. So it's
That's
hard
why,
to go
yeah.
all out when you're only racing the clock. And that
If you're
clock
doing it,
is like miles away and you're not running loops on a track. It's really, really hard to keep the adrenaline level up when you're chasing a number that doesn't impact the dollar signs whatsoever. I mean, record books, I mean, it's going to get broken pretty soon thereafter anyways. But yeah, that's my only factor with this field and this race, that she doesn't have somebody pushing her to that 8.
yeah, that's the hard part. When you have your next competition is 20 minutes behind you, how excited can you get to try to push yourself that far to get that sub 8? Man. Okay, so if Laura Philipp doesn't take the win, who do you guys got for next best bet there? Who do you think is going to be the runner-up? I'm going to go
Let's
Mana
see.
athlete, and I'm going to say Marlene de Bauer. She's been on a hot streak here. So getting some confidence with that win. See her go into this feeling good and ready to get after it.
Let's see.
Grace Steck or Nikki Bartlett would be my
So-
other two.
Are
Yeah,
we
Grace, that'd
picking?
be interesting.
Are we picking winner or second place?
I think we're
Like
picking
if
second
like
place.
are we picking
She's
if,
either
if
won by
Laura?
25 minutes or there was a mechanical. So pick the
Yeah,
next finish.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, are we picking second place or Laura's out of the race because she got food poisoning or whatever?
Pretty
Knock on
much.
wood. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, I could definitely see Laura Philipp be good on this course too. Or Nikki Bartlett, sorry.
I like Nikki or Grace Tech could be. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Sometimes with that Ironman distance, like that first Ironman, you don't know how painful it can be. So you just kind of go for it and have incredible days out there. And I could definitely see Grace Stack doing something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to pick Grace if Laura decides to go play a soccer game on race day instead of racing.
There we go. Either way, it's going to be fun to watch. They do a good job with the coverage, and they'll have Belinda Granger, I'm sure, on the commentary. And she knows everyone and everything and has been through it all. She always brings a lot of fun and energy to those the race commentary. Josh, you're on mute.
And Fenella is going to be there commentating as well.
Oh, awesome. I didn't see that. That'll be
Yeah.
really good. Yay. No, that'll be, they do it well. It won't be, well, some of the complaints we've had with the Ironman coverage in there. Belinda Granger always brings the energy and background commentary and comments on all the athletes or the location. And she just has such great insight working so closely with these athletes. But even more than that, she just cares about them. So she's fully invested, which is always good to see.
And then we gotta wait. I mean, how much does Mark beat Kyle by, and does Kyle finish? Because we know he hasn't been
Kyle's
training.
out. Kyle's not
He
starting.
is out. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Kyle's
did
not
not see
starting.
that. Did
Mark
he
is
announce that on this week's episode?
Yeah. So unfortunately, we will not see the Pro Tri News showdown this weekend. But maybe we'll have to do like a head-to-head battle next year. Pro Tri News, Another Triathlon Podcast, 3 of us against 3 of them.
That would be cool.
See how the times add up.
Man, Mark would get really, really fit for that one. Try and carry the front of the train.
There we go. Okay, here's a fun conversation. Who would we want to have the matchup against if we had to pick 3 of them to do it against? Who do you think our competitors would be?
Well, I mean, Patrick's never done a triathlon.
I think
The problem is his bike
Jenna
power.
can take Mark, and then we'll
Ginger
just figure
versus
out the
ginger.
rest.
Like it.
There we go.
I think we should be able to hold our own against Talbot and Kyle, but
Yeah, I
it all
believe so.
depends on how much training Kyle does. And Patrick might jump in and be a hell of a triathlete. We don't know because he can certainly
Yeah.
bike.
And put tons of time into us on the bike and then see what he can do for a run.
Right. I mean, he certainly chased around his wife enough and his athletes enough. So be careful out there, Patrick. The theme of the show: don't run with your athletes.
There you go.
And I'm amazed he hasn't been sucked into triathlon yet, being surrounded by all of that. Like, that's the impressive part.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to watch all the action go down at Challenge Roth and have some fun with it. And we will be back next week to do the breakdown and talk about some more pro racing coming up as we're kind of reaching the apex of this Ironman Pro Series. And we'll chat about the team.
Yeah, we got Swansea and Lake Placid back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, and that'll be just the last few opportunities collecting points here before we get into championship season where it all goes down for that $200,000 prize. Bit of cash.
And where will we see Laidlaw show up to validate?
There we go. That's the other question. Where is he going to show up and roll around so that he can get on that start list? Wicked. Well, thank you as always, guys, for joining me, and we'll chat again next week.
See you guys.
See you later.